It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Texans fans, calm down. I know that the Texans offense look bad, but
That was Big Sarge. That's
hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuned into the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com. Okay, Sarge, what is going on here? Let's get this thing together. Get this thing together. Hold on one second, y'all. There we go. All right. Why are we looking like that, though? All right, I'm getting this thing together. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. Everyone a bell on about the What's going on, y'all? You're tuned into the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast and YouTube channel, all one word, Texans Tailgate Talk. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Hold up. Because, you know, we do everything for the gram. And make sure you go to www.bigsargemedia.com and read my exclusive article on Nico Collins giving back to his hometown. And hold up, wait for it. So a funny thing happened along the way, right? Okay, so I know that some of you all have been wondering, hey, Sarge, where you been? Sarge? Where you been? And for those of you all who truly know me, for those of you all who have been supporting me over the 9 years that I have been covering the Houston Texans, you know that there's a certain time, well, over the last 8 years at least, you know that 7, 8 years. You all know that there's a 2-week period at the 1 week at the end of August and at the beginning of September where I have a grief moment. And what I mean by a grief moment is my brother passed away when he was 17 years old, going into his senior year of high school on August the 27th. My mom, who passed away on my brother's birthday, My brother who passed away, his birthday is December the 14th. My mom passed away December the 14th, 2018. And her birthday is on the 3rd. And my late wife, Jamila, passed 15 months prior, September the 5th, 2017, to my mom passing away. And so from the 27th through like the 6th of September, there's this grieving process that I go through that it just grabs me. It grabs me to the point where, like, I haven't been able to eat the right way. I haven't been able to, I got anxiety. My stomach started messing up. I'm talking about, like, there was a lot of stuff that I went through over that 2-week period. And so for those of y'all who know me, you know that I didn't just go ghost on you all. You all helped me out a whole lot, but I don't like to trauma dump onto you all. So what's going on, Texans 6282? I don't like to trauma dump on you all. So that means that I take that time to make sure that I have myself together before I come back to you all to make sure that everything is going the right way. But it's funny because on September the 5th, right? September the 5th, last week, which is the day that my late wife, had passed away 8 years prior, I was offered an opportunity from a young man who I had talked to, I want to say last year sometime, who, when he was with his previous platform, was trying to get me to do some Rockets coverage, but it just didn't work itself out. So he hit me up. I want to say maybe September the 4th and said, "Hey, Sarge, are you still covering the Texans?" I said, "Why, yes, I am." And he offered me an opportunity. And so after discussing it with my wife and laying out all the parameters and the things that would be required in order to fulfill the position, I accepted. So September the 5th, which is a day I was supposed to be grieving, I was blessed with an opportunity to be a part of the roundtable.io. And what that is roundtable.io. And I'm going to put the link in my bio here pretty soon. But what the roundtable is, the roundtable in their sports division, they have different communities. So there's a AFC South community, and then within that AFC South community, you have the individual teams. And so we know that there's the Texans, there's the Indianapolis Colts. Give me a second. For some reason, my camera doesn't look right. What am I doing? Here we go. Okay, so there's the Houston Texans, they have a community, the Indianapolis Colts have a community, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have a community, and the Tennessee Titans have a community. And so, why does it look so? What is wrong? Let me see something. Y'all give me a second. 1 second. Give me 1 second. I know exactly what's going on. Give me 1 second. Okay, that helped it out a little bit, but I got a lighting situation going on over here, y'all. So I apologize. Hey, what's going on, Miss Jordan? So like I was saying, on September the 5th, I was blessed with the an opportunity to um lead the Texans community on the roundtable, and that's what I've been doing. And so if you go over to roundtable.io, and I'm going to put it up here pretty soon, but you go to roundtable.io slash Texans, there's a Houston Texans community, right? There's a Houston Texans community. So just like I have the Texans Tailgate Talk Show for you all, the Texans Happy Hour, the Texans Tailgate Podcast and the Texans Happy Hour, and I have something specifically designed for you all, they do as well. And so while I will still be doing the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast, while I'll still be doing the Texans happy hour, while I'll still be writing articles on bigsargemedia.com, I am solely committed to giving you Texans fans more content. So this is more content that you're going to have, different content that you'll have. So now you have, and I told you all, I've been telling you all for a very long time that I'm one of the best to do this in the city of Houston, right? The city of Houston and surrounding areas. I'm one of the best to do this. And God dang it, Brian, I think this is the issue and the problem. Okay, one more second, y'all. That ain't it. I'm sorry. I thought I had this thing together. Anyway, you know what? This is a user error, technical difficulties that I'm going through is on me. So, but with that being said, I told you all I'm one of the best, if not the best, in Houston and surrounding areas when it comes to creating this Texans content. And that's no shot at my colleagues, but if I don't think it, then nobody else will. If I don't believe it, then nobody else will. And I believe it. I believe it. So You're going to get different. You're going to get, there's going to be all different types of avenues for you to get content from Big Sarge. And all I ask is that you all support that, right? I ask that you subscribe to the Texans Tailgate Talk YouTube channel. I ask that you join the Texans Roundtable community, and it's all free. It doesn't cost you anything. So, and I know that you all love your Houston Texans, and I could tell by after week 1. Jeez. Good Lord. Y'all hold on for a second. We got drinks, right? We got drinks. All right. Sheesh. So, once again, you tune into the Texans Happy Hour. I'm your host, Big Sarge. So the Houston Texans dropped their season opener to the Los Angeles Rams by a score of 14-9. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Hey, look, SoFi Stadium is amazing. That was my first time being in SoFi Stadium, and it was amazing. Like, that stadium is beautiful. And then as I was leaving, I got the full breakdown from a young man who was actually showing me how to get back to the parking lot, who worked there, who told me everything that entailed about that stadium. Why it's underground. I knew it was underground because it's the proximity to the airport. But then when he told me how, hey, if there's an earthquake, this stadium is probably one of the most secure places that you ever want to be because of the beams that we have in the support system, that if an earthquake comes and things around it starts to the earth starts to shatter, we have things in place that's going to hold the stadium. Also, we have things in place that it has to be a what they call a seismic type earthquake in order for it to really just even shake it, because we have reinforced concrete that goes out. We have hinges that's it was amazing. And so SoFi Stadium was amazing. It was probably one of the best stadiums that I've been in. That stadium and Allegiant Stadium that where the Las Vegas Raiders play. That's an amazing stadium too. And so the Houston Texans dropped their season opener to the Los Angeles Rams. And let me tell you something. I don't know where we became this society where everything has to be, all of a sudden, everything is bad. Everything is terrible. The sky is falling. You all have allowed yourselves to get caught up in this a society, social media society, where you panic at the sign of any adversity. You panic. It's week 1. This what I read, what I've been reading on social media is the equivalent to what I was seeing when they said, well, CJ isn't throwing. CJ isn't throwing the ball. So evidently he has a shoulder injury. Why isn't CJ throwing? Why isn't CJ throwing? Y'all allow other people to get y'all so riled up, and all I'm telling you to do is just hold on for a second. Just wait, right? Just wait. Now, throughout this show, it's going to sound like Sarge is caping for the Houston Texans. But what Sarge is really doing is using common sense. Like, it's common sense, man. Just like, it's really common sense. And I know common sense ain't all that common, but I really wish that you would listen, just listen to some logic and just calm down for a second. It's week 1. It's week 1. And there's a lot of other parameters that goes into why the Houston Texans lost on Sunday to the Los Angeles Rams that nobody is taking into account because their team lost. The Texans lost. Let me ask you something. Did you think that the Houston Texans were going to be the 1972 Miami Dolphins and go undefeated? Like, there's no possible way. There's nothing that you've seen in the offseason, during training camp, and during preseason that made you believe that the Houston Texans were going to go undefeated. Later on in this show, I'll tell you, I didn't understand why the Houston Texans were underdogs to the Los Angeles Rams. I think they were like a 2.5 point underdog to them. I didn't understand it at first, only because I know that the back end of that Rams defense is very weak. They ended the season like 24th or 25th in passing. You know what? Hold on. I think I got it right here because we talked about that in the earlier show. This is why I write everything down, and this is why I keep notes, y'all, because I love to be able to go back to them. And maybe it's not okay. Maybe I got it on. I know where it is. It's on another sheet of paper. It's on my on those other little notes that I keep. Anyway, I didn't think that the Houston Texans would should have been underdogs. If anything, I thought that the line should have been even when it came to the going up against the Rams. I did not think that they should have been, 2.5 point underdogs going in because of the back end, because of the defensive backs. They have a good front seven, but their back end is weak. And I think that if CJ would have been able to have just a little bit more time on Sunday, he would have been able to exploit. He would have been able to exploit that. So, that being said, I understand. I get it. I got it. The Texans lost, right? The Texans lost. But let's take a look at why I feel that the Houston Texans lost. And it's one of the biggest things, it's one of the biggest reasons that I looked at when I heard that Ed Ingram was out for the game. Right guard Ed Ingram was out for the game. And I don't think that many people, and I tried to emphasize before the game how important Ed Ingram being out of the game, how important that would be to hindering some of the Houston Texans offense on Sunday. And the reason why is because when we were in Greenbrier, there had to be like the second day when we were in Greenbrier in West Virginia, Cam Robinson went down. Prior to Cam Robinson going down, that Texans defense was having a field day. That Texans front seven was having a field day against the Houston Texans offense. And that was the lineup that consisted of Cam Robinson at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Jake Andrews at center, Titus Howard at right guard, and Ariante Ursery at right tackle. Now, listen to what I'm saying, because some of you all have a hard time listening, and some of you all y'all listen to respond instead of listening to comprehend. And so, if I'm insulting your intelligence right now, good, because I don't care. The thing is this: listen to what I just said. Prior to Cam Robinson getting hurt in West Virginia, the front seven of the Houston Texans were having a field day. And that offensive line consisted of left tackle Cam Robinson, left guard Laken Tomlinson, center Jake Andrews, right guard Titus Howard, and right tackle Ariante Ursery. Now stop me, please stop me when you start to get it. Stop it. Raise your hand. Give me 100. Say something to me when you say, Sarge, I got it. Because if that sounds familiar, if I'm telling you that during training camp, before Cam Robinson got hurt, that the Texans front seven was eating that offensive line up, was tearing it to shreds, put two and two together. See, we live in a society where you had, instead of doing two, like when I was growing up, 2 + 2 is like 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. I ain't have to use no calculator. I ain't have to use no AI. I didn't have to ask nobody. 2 + 2 = 4. I could do that on my own. If I go 1, 2, add another 2, 3, 4. See how easy that was? Think about what the offensive line unit consisted of to start the game against the Los Angeles Rams. Don't worry, I'll wait. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have me a drink. Go ahead. You hear what I'm saying? When Cam Robinson went down in training camp and the offensive line had to adjust Ariante Ursery went to the left tackle position. Laken Tomlinson stayed at left guard. Jake Andrews stayed at center. Ed Ingram went to right guard. And Titus Howard went to his natural position of right tackle. Do you know what happened from that point on? Do you know what happened from the time Cam Robinson went down throughout training camp, throughout preseason? You know what happened? That offensive line started to look better. CJ started to be protected a little bit more. And you could just tell that they were starting to gel. They were able to slow that front seven. And if they can slow their front seven down with that offensive line, then they're ready to take on pretty much everybody else. Not saying that they're going to be successful against everybody else, but by the same token, at least you give CJ a better chance, right? At least you give CJ a better chance. Ariante Ursery is a natural left tackle. Titus Howard is a natural right tackle. I got it written down right here. You know what happened? And this is going to be sad to say, and some of y'all are going to get, mad at me. Don't worry about it. Hit me up. Go to the app formerly known as Twitter, Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Drop the DM in there. Or if you're watching me live on TikTok or on or through YouTube or Twitter, hey, just drop it in the comments. Then we could talk. Drop it in the chat. We'll talk about it. This is the second time. This is the second time that I've seen Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans panic. This is the second time that I've seen Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans panic. Now, I'm not like some of these other dweebs out there. I'm not like some of these other idiots out there that is calling for DeMeco Ryans to be fired or replaced or even be on the hot seat. I'm not. I think that DeMeco Ryans is one hell of a coach. I think that DeMeco Ryans is one hell of a coach. I think that he has done an amazing job shifting the culture of the Houston Texans franchise. Remember now, I told you I've been covering this team for 9 seasons. 4 seasons ago, we were in the midst of 3 seasons of bad football from the Houston Texans. Yeah. Covered the team through those 3 years of frustration, those David Culley years, that Lovie Smith year, that Bill O'Brien getting fired, and next thing you know, you're bringing in different coaches. Romeo Crennel is coaching. The offense looked bad. Pep Hamilton was a offensive coordinator here at one point. It looked bad. Tim Kelly, it looked bad. I was here during those 3 years where the franchise looked terrible, and that's not even mentioning the legal issues and the pouting done by former Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. Not even bringing in the fact of the things of what he went through, and I'm talking about legally, and him not wanting to be here anymore. And look, the legal stuff, cool, that's to the side. Rightfully so. I think that when it comes to Deshaun Watson not wanting to be with the Houston Texans no more, I can kind of see his point, because what Bill O'Brien did before he left the Houston Texans is he set the house on fire and walked out. He set the house on fire and walked out and said, if y'all want to, look, if y'all ever want to live on this property again, if you ever want to live on this land again, then you're going to have to rebuild it. Deshaun Watson found out that his number 1 wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins was traded through SportsCenter and his friends. SportsCenter, his friends, and social media. That's how he found out his number 1 wide receiver was traded. So you got to have a point when you're saying, okay, you got this guy leading the franchise and he ain't leading us to nowhere. And I understand, all the things that Deshaun Watson has said about Bill O'Brien. A lot of it was coach speak. Listen to me now. Believe me later on. So I can understand it, but I was here through those years. And now I'm here in the third year of the D'Amico Ryans era, and it is totally different. The culture is different. The players are different. Like you could just feel the energy around NRG. So, with that being said, this is the second time that I've seen D'Amico Ryans panic. You're saying, Sarge, what do you mean by panicking? Look, I don't know, to the people that's new here, just bear with me for a second because I like to do this thing, that I've been doing ever since I've been in the media, since I've had my own radio shows, since I've been doing podcasts, and I like to go back down memory lane, right? So, and God dang it, I can't remember who sings the song. I gotta write this down again. But anyway, the lyrics of the song goes, I stumbled across a photograph. It kind of made me laugh. It took me way back down memory lane. I was gonna sing that, but my voice ain't working with me right now. In order to be woo, I could be Big Luther. How a chair is still a chair, even when there's no one sitting there. Okay, I ain't gonna do that. But anyway, like I said, let me take you back down memory lane. Against the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional playoffs last year, right guard Shaq. Oh, thank you so much, Minnie Rippleton. Minnie Rippleton. Hey, D Skills, I sound good now. Hold on now. Don't make me have a drink and then hit that. A chair is still a chair, but a room is not a house, and a house is not a home when there's no one there to turn the key. Seeing that you're still in. Look, man, now see, these skills leave me alone. I ain't trying to become Big Luther on this show. I'm doing a show. Okay, I am doing a show. But let me take you back down memory lane. Last season in the divisional playoffs, Shaq Mason, who had been hurt in week 16 against the Chiefs, Shaq Mason had been out since week 16, so he missed 2 weeks. He missed the first playoff game, and in the divisional playoffs, they brought him back, right? They brought him back and they started him, even though Juice Scruggs was doing a hell of a job at that right guard position. They brought back Shaq Mason, and it was by far one of the worst games Shaq Mason had ever played since he was with the Houston Texans. He looked terrible in that game, which made me and others wonder, why would you do that? If having Juice Scruggs in that lineup got you this far, why switch up now? And I think that one of the things that hampers Coach Ryans is loyalty to veterans. I think that his loyalty to veterans sometimes clouds the judgment. Now, listen, I've never played in the NFL. I've never coached in the NFL. So this is just Big Sarge's opinion. Don't, you can take it with a grain of salt. But there was no way that I believe that Shaq Mason should have played in that game against the Kansas City Chiefs, especially when Juice Scruggs had done such a great job of filling in that position. Shaq had been out for a long time, and even when Shaq Mason was healthy, he wasn't playing the best. You could tell that age had caught up to him. He wasn't the Super Bowl champion Shaq Mason, offensive lineman, when he played with the New England Patriots. He had gotten a little bit older, a little bit longer in the tooth, and so, no. Why would you bring him back? And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Juice Scruggs being in that spot was exactly what you should have went down with. If you're going to go down with consistency of what you've had the last couple of weeks. Don't mess it up by throwing Shaq Mason back in there. If you're going to lose with Juice Scruggs right there. So, fast forward. Remember now, that was the last game that the Houston Texans played That was the last game that the Houston Texans played in to end their 2024 season. To begin their 2025 season, they started out with an injury to their starting right guard. And instead of sticking with what you got there, and it's crazy because we're about to talk about the same player again. Instead of sticking Juice Scruggs in that spot and allowing Titus Howard to be able to help him, allowing Titus Howard to be able to help him, something that he was used to doing. I mean, something that he had already done by helping, the right guards, because like we said, he's a natural right tackle. So instead of just inserting Juice Scruggs into the lineup and keeping Ariante at the left side and keeping Titus at the right side, the Houston Texans panicked and they switched the whole offensive line around. They switched the offensive line around to pre-Greenbrier. And now look what you have. You put Ariante Ursery at the right tackle, a position he ain't practiced in over a month. Something that he's a rookie. He's never played that position. And I know that the saying is you want the rookies to be ready. I understand that. But you also got to give them some opportunity to practice at that position. So now you put him at the right tackle position, a position he has not practiced at in over a month. And then you put Titus Howard at right guard, a position he's never played on the NFL level and something that he has not practiced in over a month. And then you stick Cam Robinson back at the left tackle position, a position that he had not practiced with the first unit in over a month. So now you got three different players playing in three different players, two playing in different spots, one who hasn't practiced with the first team since in over a month ago. And you get what you got on yesterday. You get what you got on Sunday. Whereas, hey, let's leave Ariante where he is. He's gotten comfortable and gotten used to that. And we're going to see if things don't work out, then we'll make the changes. But let's leave Ariante where he is on the left side. We know what we're getting from Titus Howard at the right tackle position. Let's put him over there. Even though in 34 pass snaps, Titus Howard did not give up a quarterback pressure or a sack at the right guard position because, as I've said before, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but Titus Howard is a very good offensive lineman. He's a better right tackle, but he's a very good offensive lineman. And so you leave him at right tackle, leave Ariante at left tackle, you put Juice Scruggs at right guard, and if that doesn't work out, then you start making the necessary adjustments. Just like against the Chiefs in the divisional round of the playoffs last year. If Juice Scruggs isn't working out, now you put Shaq Mason in the game and you see what you get. You can make the end game adjustments, but when you start the game behind the 8 ball, when you start the game behind, it's hard to play catch up. Some of you all are wondering, what the hell you mean by playing catch up, Sarge? D'Amico Ryans wouldn't say it on Sunday when I asked him. CJ Stroud wouldn't say it when I asked him on Sunday during the post-game press conferences. And I didn't expect them to say it, but I had to ask the question. I had to ask to get their responses because I needed to know. And I went in knowing that the answer that I was seeking wasn't going to be the answer that I was given. Hey, Coach, is there any how did I phrase this? I asked him and CJ the same question. I can't remember how, and I could go look at the transcripts, but I don't want to waste any more of you all's time because we got a lot of more show to get to. But I asked them a question similar to, How does switching that line like that, how does shifting that line around like that, how does that affect um how does that affect how CJ is able to operate? And I ask CJ, when you have to learn the different tendencies of a new offensive line makeup, especially since you're familiar with the one that you've practiced with for so long, does that ruin the continuity, or does that ruin, their habits and they know your habits? You know their habits, they know your habits, and then you go on from there. And both of them say, look, it's the next man up. CJ said something to the effect of, I got to make them better, and it's my job. And I understand that. Don't get me wrong, I understand that, but there's no possible way that Coach Ryans or CJ could make me believe that playing with the line that you have, playing with the offensive line unit that you have not practiced with basically in over a month. You have no game time experience, with it with this unit. All you have is practice, training camp. And that's been over a month ago. There's no possible way that you could tell me that doesn't mess up some of the continuity, the comfortability, and some of the ways that CJ operates or operated in the pocket. You can't. There's no possible way. There's no possible way that you could tell me that. Some GT say, I don't know who you're agreeing with, GT, so I'm just gonna read, and this is coming from a TikTok. I agree. He needs to make quicker decisions, knowing the line won't hold. Well, I will say this, GT. You're saying that CJ need to make quicker decisions knowing that the line won't hold. CJ didn't know what that line was going to do, because that isn't a line that he's played with in over a month. And that's my point. He doesn't know what that line is going to do, because this is a unit that he has not played with in over a month. Practice with, excuse me. Now, when Ed Ingram started experiencing some of those abdominal issues, then they may have rolled out that lineup, but you're going into game week preparation. So now you want CJ to learn on the fly how to play with Cam Robinson again. You want CJ to learn how to play with Ariante Ursery again. I seen some people talk about how, see the sacks that CJ took, running backwards. Well, hell, he's trying to free himself up to try to see if he can get some type of space so he can make a play. I don't fault him for that. He can't step up because the pocket is collapsing on the inside and on the outside. And I don't know what you expected from Ariante and what you expected from Cam Robinson, especially a Cam Robinson, who, if you go back and you look, when he played with the Minnesota Vikings, the last game he played was against Jared Verse. And what happened then? What happened when he played against Jared Verse? Go look at the stats. Go look at the tape. You ain't got to look at the stats. Go look at the tape. And so now that's you're rolling back out there. And then you lose Jake Andrews. So now CJ's used to playing with Jared Patterson because he's played with him before. But now you're rolling, he gets hurt. Cam Robinson goes down for a second. Now you move Ariante from the right tackle to the left tackle, and then you put Blake Fisher in there. And Byron Young put Blake Fisher on skates so bad that Blake Fisher had to grab his face mask. Go back and look at that play. He put Blake Fisher on skates so bad, pushed him into CJ so bad that Blake Fisher got a face mask call because he was trying to get him up off of him. Get up off me, man. Get up off me. Get up off me. But I do believe that started with D'Amico and that coaching staff panicking. I do believe that. I do believe that they panicked. Some of the comments in this live was filtered to protect the community's experience. I I get that. I definitely understand that. Appreciate your TikTok family. That's probably why some of the people left, because they couldn't cuss me out. So like I said, I do believe that they panicked, and by them panicking, they put CJ in a bad situation. Not only did they put CJ in a bad situation, now you're putting your first year offensive play caller in a bad situation. It's bad enough that he is, having to redesign plays, knowing that he doesn't have Christian Kirk or Braxton Berrios, his two seasoned slot receivers. Both of them are out, not just one, both of them are out. So now you're trying to put players like Xavier Hutchinson in the slot, and you're putting Ricky Noel in the slot, and so you're trying to find a mismatch. And I do believe that the game would have been a little bit different. I think the game would have been a little bit different if they would have at least had Christian Kirk out there, at least Christian Kirk, because that adds another seasoned veteran, seasoned wide receiver to the mix, and he would have been able to help alleviate some of that pressure off of CJ, I believe, by getting in the right spots, settling down, and allowing CJ to get the ball out of his hands quicker. But they put CJ in a bad situation by panicking, by reshuffling the offensive line like that. Like I said, and it's just week one. So hey, look, it's week one. You're not going to win them all. And if you're going to lose anyway, let's go down with what we're familiar with. We know that we know without a shadow of a doubt that Ariante and Titus, being in their natural positions, can hold up long enough for CJ to be able to do what he needs to do, while they deal with that interior pressure. That's just one of the things, that's one of the things that that I noticed and I observed, especially from, like I said, from the beginning of the game. I said this is going to be a difficult game for CJ, because he's playing with familiar players in unfamiliar positions. Once again, you're tuning into the Texans Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com for all of your winery needs. Was CJ able to change the place at the line? We did a terrible job at picking up the blitz once again. Yeah, CJ is allowed to change the plays at the line. The problem is, the problem is that when he can call all the different type of protections that he wants. If the people can't protect them, then what are you supposed to do? Like if he can change the protection a lot, and then but if you got these players playing in unfamiliar positions, then even when you change it, now you're looking at, what are we supposed to do? Hold on. Oh, Ninja Crazy Legs. I'm gonna read that when it's time for me to read the. Don't go nowhere, because I'm gonna answer that. I'm just reading something in the chat, but he could change all the protections that he wants, and then you got a player like Dameon Pierce. Like when CJ got rushed and he had to be flushed out of the pocket when Dameon Pierce was in the game. And did he complete the pass? I don't remember if CJ completed that pass or not. All I know is that they were blitzing, and instead of Dameon Pierce staying in to help pick up the blitz, he bailed out quickly. And if that defender that is blitzing doesn't stick, if that defender goes off script, because the script was for him to chip the tackle and then go towards CJ, hit the tackle into the edge rusher, and then go directly to the play. Go directly to CJ. And so if he goes off script and goes directly at CJ, that's an automatic sack right there. That's an automatic sack right there. And you're looking at like, well, damn, Dameon, you seen him crowding the line. He didn't disguise. He was standing right at the line. That is your responsibility. Hey, man. Hey, you're look. I know you're supposed to be the hot route, but now I'm gonna need you to stay in and block. It's week 1. They're working out the kinks. They'll get it together. Which leads me to my next point. So I'm writing an article that will be up on Tuesday morning. I wrote an article on Sundays talking about the Nick Caley era beginning, and I'm gonna write an article. I'm writing an article for Tuesday that says, well, you'll see it, and it's gonna talk about Nick Caley and the job that he did, because there's too many people. There's too many people watching, and I don't want them to steal my content. But just know that Tuesday, go to go to the Texans Roundtable, and there will be an article about Nick Caley's offensive play calling on Sunday, and I'm going to tell you how it's familiar to somebody else that you all are used to. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But my next point that I wanted to make real quickly was Nick Caley is getting a lot of heat for the offensive production of the Houston Texans. Rightfully so, he's the play caller. I told you all on numerous occasions that the one thing that's going to hamper Nick Caley, the one thing that's going to stick with him throughout this entire year, right, is that there is no excuses. What's up, Alexis? There won't be any excuses for him, because former offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick has used up all the first-time play calling excuses. For 2 years, or for his first year, and even in some of his second year, he used up all the excuses. And so now Texans fans want results. If the roles would have been reversed and Nick Caley would have gotten hired first and then Bobby Slowick, it would have been the exact same thing. But what the Houston Texans fans have seen is that, okay, so this is what we got from Bobby Slowick's offense. So we got 2 AFC South championships. We got 2 wild card playoff wins. We got 2 consecutive trips to the divisional round of the playoffs. We want more. We want more. I'm not going to even address that. We want more. That's what the Houston Texans fans are saying. So now, even starting with game 1, there's no way that Nick Caley can lean on, well, I'm a first-time play caller, because the fans aren't going to want to hear that, because the fans are like, we'll give you this much leeway. We gave Bobby this much. We're going to give you this much. But we've heard this before. We've heard before on first-time play callers. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Sorry, Nick. Sorry. You've been in the Patriot system. You've been in the Ram system. You've been around Sean McVay. We can't give it to you. And we already gave everything to Bobby. We gave Bobby all of the excuses that we were going to give for a first-time play caller, and we can't just do that anymore. We can't. We want more. And I'm talking about, this is what the Houston Texans fans are saying, right? Not Sarge. What the Houston Texans fans are saying, we want more, we want more, give us more, give us more. The problem is, y'all taking out Sunday's non-offensive production on Nick Caley, right? Texas weren't able to score a touchdown. They were only able to muster up 9 points. It looks familiar to last season, where they couldn't score touchdowns, where they couldn't score in the second half. That game looked familiar. You're putting a lot of heat on Nick Caley. And normally, I would agree with you. Normally, I would have said, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Put it on Nick Caley. But something else happened this offseason. Something else happened this offseason outside of Nick Caley being hired as the Texans offense coordinator. Cole Popovich Cole Popovich got a promotion, and now he went from second in command to first in charge. Cole Popovich is the Texans offensive line coach. And so if you're going to blame Nick Caley for the lack of offensive production on Sunday, then how come I haven't heard anybody talk about Cole Popovich not having these players prepared to have that next man up mentality? How come there's not been one person that has talked about Cole Popovich? I like Cole Popovich. I know for a fact that last season Cole Popovich was, and we've talked about this before, inside of that offensive line room, Cole Popovich was telling them how to stop the delayed blitzes and the stunts. That being said, the offensive line looked bad on Sunday. Why isn't anybody putting any heat on Cole Popovich? I'm just asking. You don't have to blame him fully, but it's his position group that is the one that's being called out. It's his position group that is being called out. It's his position group that looked bad on Sunday. I get it. I got it. I understand. There was an injury. But if Cole Popovich is who I know him to be, who I know who he learned under, then Juice Scruggs should be ready. And now, if Juice Scruggs should be ready to fill in for Ed Ingram, and you shouldn't have to make the type of adjustments that was made out of panic mode. No possible way Cam Robinson should have started on Sunday. And that's no shot and no knock at him. There's no knock and no shot at Cam Robinson. But familiarity breeds a lot. And you keep those two tackles. Ed Ingram is out. Put Juice Scruggs in there, and you go with that. Now, what you're doing is you're not shifting everything around. All you're doing is adding one player. Pull Ed Ingram out, put Juice Scruggs in there. And then you go from there. You go from there. You still got 4 of your other starters on the line, right? Now, don't get me wrong. You still had 4 of your other starters on the line. I mean, you still had 4 starters on the line by inserting Cam Robinson, but you inserted him into a spot. I mean, you inserted him into that offensive line, and he hadn't played with none of those guys in over a month. I understand the next man up mentality, but sometimes that's just words. Let's just go ahead. Shit. I'm here. Sometimes that next man up mentality, that next man up saying is bullshit. Let's just call it what it is. Sometimes the next man up ain't prepared to be the next man up. I got that part. Don't let me see it. Don't say it. Let me see it. Let me see that he don't just say, well, the next man up, right? Okay, so if the next man up, then Juice Scruggs should have been the next man up. But you panicked. You panicked. And now look. Now, not only is Cole Popovich not being mentioned, there's another person that should be mentioned be getting some sort of mention in what you've seen on Sunday from that Texans offense. General Manager and Executive Vice President Nick Caserio. I have the utmost respect for Nick Caserio. He's done a great job in working with DeMeco Ryans to help build this team back to where it is, to build this team back up to where it came from. But by the same token, right? By the same token, he went out and got Trent Brown. Where's Trent Brown on the practice squad? When he gonna be ready? And then when he is ready, how long that's gonna take? He went out and got Ed Ingram. He went out and got Cam Robinson. He went out and got Jake Andrews. And one of the things that I kept asking you all, is, hey man, why are you bringing in these players who weren't effective on their last team? Go and do your research on what happened as the season went on after the Minnesota Vikings acquired Cam Robinson. Go do your research on how Ed Ingram was benched for ineffective play. Hell, I didn't even know who Jake Andrews was. Trent Brown, how long has Trent Brown been in the league? Hell, with that being said, how long has Laken Tomlinson been in the league? I can't name you one person. Who looked at the Texans' offseason acquisitions as far as bringing in offensive line, rebuilding that offensive line, which last season statistically was the worst in the NFL. I can't name you. There's not one person that I can name you that said that gives Nick Caserio a thumbs up or a hand clap or a high five or a 100 or a praise for his offseason acquisitions of offensive linemen. And that's terrible. And the reason why it's terrible is because you have a franchise quarterback. You have a franchise quarterback. CJ Stroud, I don't give a damn what nobody else tell you. I've watched this young man. This young man is a franchise quarterback. You just got to put, at least give him some time. At least give him some time. But there's nothing that I seen as far as offensive linemen that and look, and like I said, this is no shot at none of those guys. They're in the NFL. There's someplace that I can. That's why you notice I'm not talking. I'm not criticizing them or belittling them. What I'm telling you is that from a media standpoint, from a research standpoint, I don't think that the Houston Texans offensive line got better by the acquisitions that were made in the offseason. Now, I'm gonna put this up, y'all. Alexis, TikTok family. Alexis asked a great question, and you know what, Alexis? I got it right here on my paper. I got it right here on my paper, so you can look. I ain't gonna show you everything, but it's right there. It's right there. Alexis asked the question: who was out there that we should have signed? Who was out there that the Houston Texans could have signed? George Fant. If you're gonna make, if you wanted Titus to play right guard anyway, then why not go out and get George Fant and put him back at right tackle? George Fant was a very, very good right tackle for the Houston Texans. Now, I don't know. I'm not finna lie to y'all. Let me take that back. Let me take that back. Because I ain't finna lie. And that's because I was just in the rhythm of talking. I ain't finna lie to y'all. I do know what happened. I do know what happened between George Fant and management. I do know what happened with George Fant and this organization. I do. I know. I know exactly what happened. And so what I wish could have happened is that bygones be bygones and you do what's best for the team. Like I'll never forget. I was listening to David Mulugeta, the super agent, the super NFL agent, and they were asking him questions about will he ever do business again with Jerry Jones from the Dallas Cowboys because of the way that the Micah Parsons trade played out. Right? Would he ever do business with him again? And he said, "Yeah, it's just business. It ain't personal. I don't have anything personal against Jerry Jones. It's just business." And I wish that in that situation, if you're going to make him a right guard, if you're going to make Titus a right guard, then why not re-sign George Fant instead of trying to do all this mixing and this matching and making this happen and making should have just brought back George Fant. I got that right here in my notes. Now, we talked about the offense. We talked about how I felt like the Texans panicked after the Ed Ingram injury. I felt we talked about how I think that Nick Caley deserves some of the blame for Sunday's loss, but he shouldn't take all the blame. I think that some of the blame should go towards Cole Popovich, and I also think that some of the blame should go towards Nick Caserio, right? But at the end of the day, the Houston Texans had an opportunity to still win the game, right? They had an opportunity to still win the game. They were still in the game, and it could have been one of those things like D'Amico Ryans always talks about, those ugly wins, right? He talks about those ugly wins, and they were in a prime position to get that ugly win. And then one of the most solid guys on the Houston Texans team, Dare Ugumawale, is probably by far one of the most solid guys you ever want to meet. And for him to have that turnover, that late in the game, and I could tell, even when we were interviewing him in the locker room, you could tell how he's a guy that wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a guy that will give you his all. And for him to make that type of mistake, you could tell that it really, really, really affected him. And no matter what, coach said, no matter what his teammates said about, hey, the game didn't come down to one play. We still had opportunity. Nico Collins said we should have scored. The game doesn't come down to just one play. But that one play is what a lot of people are going to remember because it was a turnover. And Dare Ugumawale, like I said, is by far one of the most solid people that you ever want to meet. But in TikTok family, I'm sorry I haven't been able to. I don't know how to figure this thing out, but you just have to go with me on this one. I'm going to figure it out. But y'all know how we do this on our show, right? Y'all know how we do this on. Let me sign in right quick. Give me a second. Y'all know how we do. Throughout the season, we'll go and we'll look at some plays, right? We'll go and we'll take a look at some plays. I want to bring up that play. Where is it? Here we go. I'm going to bring up the fumble, right? I'm going to bring up the fumble for my my supporters who are watching me. Hold on. For my supporters who are watching me through my live stream on TikTok and YouTube. Give me a second. Let's go share the screen. Share screen. I'm gonna pull up the play, right? I'm gonna pull up Dare's play. All right, so let me see. Hold on for a second. Let me do this one. I'm still sharing. I want you all to see something. I was gonna do it one way, but let me do it this way. This is where I feel that Nick Caley has to take full responsibility for the fumble. Right? Well, let me take that back. Not full. But at least Nick Caley has to take at least 60% of Dare Ugabawale's fumble late in the game. Dare take 40%. You're wondering why, and you're asking yourself, Sarge, how in the hell can you put 60% on Nick Caley? How in the hell are you putting anything on Nick Caley when it's Dare's responsibility to hold on to the ball, which is what he said. Hey, man, I'm supposed to protect the ball. Now, Nick Landman made a hell of a play. Linebacker Nick Landman for the Rams made a hell of a play by punching that ball out of the arms of Dare Ugabawale. But the better question is, why is Dare in the game? For those of you all who are watching right now, you see they're in an empty set, right? They're in an empty set. Now, the play prior to this, because some of you all are going to say, well, it was the personnel and they were doing a hurry up and they were trying to, they were trying to make sure that they had enough time. They had 3 timeouts and the clock was running down. So they're in the hurry up offense. They're in the 2-minute offense, and you're saying you're going to say, Sarge, well, they're in a 2-minute, they're in a 2-minute offense. Why are you about to say this, right? Why are you saying this? Because the play prior, Dare ran out of bounds. The clock stopped. Y'all don't believe me. Hold on. Previous play. Here we go. See this? There's Dare Ugabawale in the backfield. 4 wideouts with Dare. Run the play. Dare gets into the flats, perfectly turns, and looks at CJ while CJ is being tackled. Let's look at it from this end zone angle. Now look. He knows that he's coming. Felt like Titus maybe should have slid over here to number 53 and gave Jared Patterson number 91, but that's neither here nor there. You haven't played this side of the ball for a long time. You know that Ariante is going to have Byron Young right here. 53 is blitzing with Titus Howard should pick him up, and Jared Patterson should get number 91. You have Lakin Thompson. Hold on. I take that back. They were blitzing, of course, but it should have been better line protection up front. Here we go. See that? Bam. He's out in the flats, right? He's out in the flats. Let's look at it from this end zone angle. CJ's being pressured. Gets the ball out of his hands. Let's go back to the sidelines. CJ's being pressured. Gets the ball out of his hands because the guy who's responsible for holding Dare is blitzing, and the second person who's supposed to hold him can't get down fast enough. Now, watch what happens at the end of this play. You see what the ref is doing? You see what the ref is doing? That means the play is stopped. Hold on. Let's look at it from a TV angle.
C.J. Stroud, blitzers on. Outside it goes. Ugabawale. He's got the first down. Chased by Curl and out of bounds. And he stops the clock.
Heard what he said? And he stops the clock. Let's move to the next play. He stops the clock. Why in the hell is Dare still on the field? Why in the hell is Dare still on the field? I'm just asking. I just need to know. Why is Dare still on the field? Let's look at the personnel package. Let's look and see who was in the game. So, you got Nico on the outside. Then you got Xavier Hutchinson next to him. And then you have Jalen Noel in the game. You got Dalton Schultz in the game. Why isn't Jaden Higgins on the opposite side? That's why I said 60% has to go to Nick Caley and 40% has to go to Dare because he's the one that fumbled the ball. He's the one that fumbled the ball. Look at the personnel. Look at the personnel. You drafted Jaden Higgins. And okay, so you want Dare in there because you trust Dare more. Then how are you ever going to build trust for your young wide receiver if you don't put him in situations like this? Put him in there. Put him in there. For no other reason to just have another big body in there. For another big body. And I'm not saying that the results wouldn't have been the same. The results could have been the same. He could have still fumbled. Jaden Higgins could have fumbled as well. But Dare is a running back. And you have him in a wide out position. You have him at a wide out position when you have a wide out that is on the sidelines. Are you telling me that, first of all, hold on. First of all, why didn't Dalton sit down right here on the 20? Hindsight is 2020, y'all. I know I'm playing Monday morning quarterback. I'm sorry. I'm just asking. I know I've never been in the thick of things like this for CJ or for Dare or for Dalton, but CJ made the right decision. He got the ball, but are you telling me that you wouldn't have rather had Jaden Higgins here than Dare? Nothing against Dare. Dare is the Houston Texans Swiss Army knife. He is. But I think that I would have rather had him over there. Someone says 50-50 could have used Woody. Sarge, do you believe the conservative nature was due to this being against McVay? I feel Kaylee outsmarted himself and made Shula's job as a defense coordinator easy. Who that sound like? Who does overthinking? Who does overthinking sound like? Who does overthinking situations? Well, what that sound like? There's no way. Like I said, I have nothing against Dare Ugabawale. He's a stand-up guy. He does a lot for the Houston Texans. Hell, in 2023, after Kaimi Fairbairn got hurt at halftime against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had to come in and be the who had to come in and be the kicker? Dare. He kicked the field goal too. So it's nothing against Dare Ugabawale. And like Nico said, hey man, football plays happen. And that was a great football play by the Rams defender to be able to punch that ball out of Dare's arms. So I'm not saying that wouldn't have happened if Jaden Higgins wouldn't have been in the game, but I would, damn it, I would have rather seen Jaden Higgins in the game than Dare Ugabawale. Is he a running back that can catch? Yes, he can. He's a great third down back for them. And he will be a great third down back until Woody Marks can learn the offensive system and get himself really up to game speed as far as playing in the NFL. Because once that happens, Woody Marks is going to Woody Marks is the next Houston Texans running back in waiting. It is what it is. I've told you all this before, that if Joe Mixon doesn't come back, I could see Woody Marks playing a lot more up to the point where he's a starter and Nick Chubb is backing him up. I could see that. I definitely could see that. I don't know how much longer Damian Pierce has in this Houston Texans offense. I'm pretty sure he's going to get a lot more opportunities while Joe Mixon is out, but it's almost looks like he's playing himself out of a role, out of a position as far as getting running back touches, because he did not look very good in the run game. And, you know, the Texans had a good run. The Texans look good in spurts. They look good in spurts when it came to the run game. I thought that Nick Chubb, did an adequate job and did what he was able to do. But going back, why is Dare Ogunbowale in the game? There's no possible way he should have been. If you're gonna go empty set like that, then put your your rookie wide receiver out there and say, hey man, we gotta throw you into the fire. That's the only way you're gonna learn. Throw him into the fire. Hey, look, bro, this is a high pressure situation. What are you gonna do? Let's throw you on out there and see what you got. You put Dare at a wide out position. You put Dare at a wide out position. And by putting him at a wide out position, you set yourself up for things like this. Like I said, the fumble was unfortunate. The fumble was a great play. The forced fumble was a great play by the Rams defender. But I would have rather him knock the ball out of the wide receiver's hand instead of the running back lined up as a wide receiver. Now, once again, you tune into the Texas Happy Hour. Wait, hold on. What you mean, Alexis? You got to explain. Explain what that means. Once again, you tune into the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. They said you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com for all your winery needs. They got some really, 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 really good wine over there. I'm telling you, I've had some myself. Let's go on the defense side of the ball before we get up out here. Before I start reading some of these, comments, let's go over to the defense side of the ball. Where I felt like DeMeco Ryans panicked on the offensive side of the ball, I honestly and truly believe that him and Matt Burke just got out-schemed by Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me make sure I say that clearly. There aren't too many people that can match wits with Sean McVay. I've told you all on this show on numerous occasions. I told you throughout the offseason leading up to this game. I told you the week before last leading up to this game, Sean McVay is the smartest head coach in the NFL right now. Sean McVay is the smartest head coach in the NFL right now. And I'm going to say that even if we go back 30 years, I'm still putting him in top 5 as smartest coaches in the NFL. Sean McVay knows how to make in-game adjustments. He knows how to adjust. And what him and Matthew Stafford did to that Texans defense on Sunday was they made the necessary adjustments. What I mean by made the necessary adjustments, the Texans defense played very well. There's not too many times that you're going to ask yourself, hey, man, if the defense only gives up 14 points, does that mean that the Texans still win the game? And you're going to say, yep. Exactly. If you look at it, you say the defense is only going to give up 14 points. And the Houston Texans should still win that game, right? You're thinking to yourself, the Houston Texans should still win that game if the defense only gives up 14 points. And so I'm saying that the defense played very well on Sunday. They just got out-schemed by Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. Let's take away Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a Hall of Famer. Derek Stingley Jr. did an amazing job, I felt, on Devontae Adams by not letting him get too loose. I think that the one pass, that back shoulder fade that they completed, if you go back and you look at it, Sting got pushed. Sting got pushed in the back. So there's no way he could turn around if Devontae Adams is pushing off. They didn't call that, and I'm not one of the ones be like, oh, man, the refs cheated. Nope, I'm not saying that. I think that Stingley, even after the injury, which he says that he's doing okay, he said it's just football. That's what he said. I'm going to post that on my social media feeds. He said it was just football. That's all he said. It was just football. And so when you look at it, he did a great job of taking out Devontae Adams, which is what they knew he was going to do. They knew that he was going to be able to shut down Devontae Adams. What does that mean? That means that Puka Nacua was going to be on everybody else. That means that Puka Nacua was going to be able to kind of roam around free. Not so much against Kamari Lassiter, even though he had 2 targets, had 2 receptions for 37 yards against Kamari, right? You can live with that. You can live with giving up 2 catches for 37 yards to Puka Nacua. You can live with that. Where Sean McVay and where Matthew Stafford out-schemed D'Amico Ryans and Matt Burke, Jalen Petrie trying to hold Puka Nacua. CJ Gardner-Johnson trying to hold Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua ended the game, I think, with 130 yards, if I'm not mistaken. I'll look at it in just a second. 72 of those came against Jalen Petrie and CJ Gardner-Johnson. Let me look and see. Yeah. Hold on, give me a second. Yep. When he was in the slot, he was targeted 7 times for 6 receptions and for 78 yards. When he was wide, he had 3 targets, 3 receptions, 28 yards, and in the backfield, he had 1 target, 1 reception for 24 yards. And so, let me see. He had 51 yards after the catch. His expected yards after catch was supposed to be 32. Yards after catch over expected was 19. So, what Sean McVay and what Matthew Stafford realized is that we know that CJ Gardner-Johnson can't hold Puka Nacua. And I have the utmost respect for CJ Gardner-Johnson. I think he's a dog. But covering Puka Nacua is a very hard task for a safety like CJ Gardner-Johnson. That's a very hard task for a player like a Jalen Petrie, who we know is coming back off of injury. So that was his first official game back since he had injured himself last season. But that's still a very hard task for him. So what did they say? Hey, let's just keep putting Puka Nacua in situations to whereas he has to be lined up against either a linebacker or a safety or the slot corner. And with the way that he's able to run routes, with his ability to get into spaces where he needs to be, and that's with him leaving the field twice with concussion-like symptoms and being cut in the face. They out-schemed him. And although the Texans didn't give up a lot of points, just giving up those type of plays, and especially, hold on, where are we at? Right here. This is the one. Hold on, let me see if it's going to pull up. This is the thing that killed the Houston Texans. Where is it? Come on, Sarge. You got to find it. It has to be in here. God dang it. Y'all, hold on 1 second. I know it has to be in here because it's normally in here. Boop, boop, a doop, boop, 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 boop. Here we go. Exactly what I was looking for. We talked about how Puka Nacua was able to take advantage of the defenders that was on him. But also, the Houston Texans gave up 53.8% of the third down on third down efficiency. The Rams went 7 for 13. That is a lot. 53%. That means that you're not getting off the field in a timely manner. And although they put pressure on Matthew Stafford in spurts, it should have been more pressure on Matthew Stafford, a quarterback who hasn't practiced the entire training camp and preseason and has a bad back. And he shouldn't have been able to stay on the field like that. There should have been constant pressure. But what Sean McVay did was made sure that he schemed up plays in order to get the ball out of his hands fast, in order for him to get in position to not be hit. How many times was he sacked? He got sacked 3 times. CJ got sacked 3 times as well. The Texans played 81.3% of zone coverage. You cannot play zone coverage like that against a veteran like Matthew Stafford and also a play caller like Sean McVay. You just can't, because all they're going to do is what they did. 81.3, you're in zone 81.3% of the time, and you got a quarterback who has a bad back, who only needs a little bit of time to find Devontae Adams in a spot or find Puka Nacua in a spot. He's not trying to hit the home run plays every time. His back won't even allow him to really throw the ball downfield like that. But what he's doing is he's trying to pick out his spots. And so the Texans only played 6% of man coverage. 6% of man coverage. It's not going to win you any games when you can't get off the field. When you can't get off the field and on third downs. And so Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, all you can do is tip your hat to them, because they did what everybody, on the Rams side thought they should have done. So hold on, let me see. Let me go to the comments real quick. Sarge, I get that you want to keep your access and connection to the team, but can you please ask them the same tough questions? Like, why do we keep giving guys like Dare and Pierce chances after failure? So it has nothing to do with my access, nothing to do with the connection. What I've learned over my 9 years, and when I first came in with no experience, and I just had to learn. This where I'm at in year 9 is definitely where I was. It wasn't where I was in year 1. It wasn't where I was in year 2. It took me a while to start to figure and pick up. So I know you say it has nothing to do with my access or connection to the team. But if I ask the question that you want me to ask about Dare and about Pierce, they're not going to give me the answer that you want. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I'm telling you, they're not going to give me the answers that you want, because there has never been a time that D'Amico has ever thrown a player under the bus. Nick Caley, from the short time being around him, he's not going to throw a player under the bus. Whatever they do behind the scenes is what they do behind the scenes. But if I ask them a question, this question right here about keep giving Dare and Pierce chances after failure, they're going to give me the generic coach's answer. I'm telling you. And that's a waste of a question. Has nothing to do with access, has nothing to do with connection. What I try to do is to make sure that I try to ask questions that will, get the answers to some of the things that you all are thinking about. But just like I said earlier in the show, I asked Coach after the game, and I asked CJ after the game about how much the continuity was messed up with the offensive line shift. I knew what they were going. I had an idea what they were going to say, but I also had a feeling that maybe they would have said just a little bit more. CJ more than Coach, but by the same token, both of them stuck to the same answer that I figured that I was going to get, Anyway, so like I said, it's only week 1, but geez, they got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in next week. I'm sorry, on Monday night. In a week, they'll be playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you go from playing Matthew Stafford to playing Baker Mayfield, who has the same, if not better, wide receivers in that system. Mike Evans is going to be a handful. Igbuke, I think that's his name. He's going to be a handful for that defense. And what the offense is going to have to get it together. The offense the offense cannot have another game like they had on Sunday. Because if you keep putting your defense on the field for as much as you did on Sunday, you're going to end up having those guys exhausted by the end of the game and when they need to make a stop. And that's another thing, right? That's another thing. Hey, TikTok family, I appreciate y'all. I'm about to get ready to get up off of here because I got to get ready for in the morning. Got to be at the gym. But y'all know, hey, look, hold on. Hey, hold on. Y'all didn't think I was don't act like I didn't give y'all an exclusive yesterday from don't act like I didn't give y'all an exclusive from SoFi Stadium on Sunday. They didn't get this. Twitter and YouTube didn't get this. Y'all got an exclusive post-game live from SoFi Stadium Sunday. Y'all know that. Don't act like that. Don't even act like that. D'Amico is out of his depth. He's a coordinator, not a head coach. CJ just isn't that good. Are you serious, David? David, are you serious? Or you just wanted me to read what you were saying? David, come on, man. You believe that D'Amico Ryans is not a head coach? You think he's just a coordinator? You think CJ isn't that good? I respect your opinion. I just disagree with it. Where else do you stream? Go to Texans Tailgate Talk, all one word, on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel, and I do it right there. When I'm not here, I'm there. And Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end on Twitter. I see y'all tomorrow. All right. That was amazing. Wait, hold on. What's up, Queena? I want to be at the game Monday. They better muck my damn day when I get back home. 2 hours away and go to work on Tuesday. Good thing they play at 6 o'clock. One thing that I failed to mention that I wanted to mention earlier was it's breaking news on Monday that Cade Stover, second-year tight end for the Houston Texans, has a broken foot and is going to be out indefinitely. So that leaves one tight end on the active roster right now, and I'm thinking that on Tuesday when the team comes back to the facility, they're going to elevate either Harrison Bryant or Ricky Luke Lachey. And so they'll have another wide receiver to take Cade Stover's place until he gets back. But damn, that tight end position, y'all. I don't know what to say about that tight end position. Good Lord. That tight end position. They lost Brevin Jordan. They lost Irv Smith. Now they lost Cade Stover. Sheesh. That is a lot. That is a lot. But they lose Cade Stover, and Cade Stover was going to I felt like this was his season that he was going to bring a lot. I felt like this was going to be a breakout season for him because of the offseason work that he was able to put in. So that being said, Let me go ahead and jump into some of these comments. I'm gonna go. Let me go back, y'all. I just need to go back. Yeah, Jason. Everybody want to bail on him after week 1. D Skills, what's going on? H Town Dre, Patton, what's going on? D'Angelo, Glenn J, H Town Dre. H Town Dre says, "Why am I seeing a lot of hate for our first game on Twitter? Because that's just what they do. Everybody want to be able to say something and join the crowd. That's it. Bel Air, the Trey baby. I'm so disappointed, man. I have not listened to any of my boys today. So you the first list today. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. But I always do whatever you got to do. Man, hey, man, I appreciate it. I lost my daughter and her mom. Wait, what? Patton, how come I never knew this? And both their birthdays were on October 1st and 4th. So I understand. Oh, man. Bro, man. Dang, Patton. I ain't know that, man. Hand over heart for you, brother. I'll reach out to you once I get up here. I had to tell a few folks. What's up, Tay? A few folks that it's a new system. It's a new system and new systems with actual game reps. Got to give it a few games to get that set in place. Yeah, we talked about that too. Remember, we talked about we talked about that. Rams also haven't given up 10 points in 5 of their last 6 games they started in. And the only one who did it was the Eagles. Oh, I didn't know that. Ed Ingram out being a problem also meant you don't want Titus at guard. I did not want Titus at guard at all. Tay's talking about the interception that CJ threw on Sunday, saying that Higgins got to strengthen his hands. And Brandon responded with, I mean, no matter how much you strengthen your hand, outstretched hands are stronger than a person using their entire weight close to the core to steal the ball away. That is a great point by Brandon. That's why I said on Sunday on social media that interception wasn't on CJ and that interception wasn't on Higgins. The defensive back, Kobe, is it Kobe Bryant? Kobe something. I can't think of his last name, but anyway, he just made a great play. That was just a great play. That interception wasn't on CJ. The interception wasn't on Jaden Higgins. It was on the fact that the Rams defensive back made one hell of a play. I haven't seen the replay, and so I'm gonna go back and look and see if he actually came down and controlled the ball. Man. Tay, you getting Big Sarge. Sip some Sarge or Big Sarge. Big Sarge. Yep. Yep, exactly. What's up, Reg J? Miles that cognac, what's going on? Hello, Miss Jordan. These skills told me gonna have the trainers check me out. But you know I was singing that melody. Let me see. Gamer G Texas fan said, I want us to beat the Chiefs and Bills this year, but I have a question. Y'all think one of my favorites in trouble, number 5. You talking about Petrie? Let me know what you're talking about, Gamer G Texan fan. Exactly, these skills. I didn't understand the O-line shuffle at all. It made 0 sense to me. Hey, made 0 sense to me either. I think that Velo says just shows they don't think, and he's talking about Juice Scruggs is good. What O-line do you think we should start at practice with on Tuesday? Shout out Jason XY-RN. I would like to see one that put Ariante back at left tackle and Titus at right tackle and Juice Scruggs at right guard. We already know that Jared Patterson is probably going to start because Jake Andrews was carted off on Sunday. He's going to probably be out for a while. So, but I would like to see Titus go back to tackle, and I would like to see Ariante Ursery go to left tackle. I don't think I'm ready to see Blake Fish in the game yet. Let me see. Beast mode. What's going on? At the end of the day, I feel Juice or Fisher has to sink or swim. If they fail, release them and take a chance with another free agent. Yeah, I agree with that too. What Glenn J says, I think that was my biggest issue with yesterday. We looked just like last year. No tempo, no quick hitters, no adjustment, no score in the second half. Yep, exactly. Reg, that's what I said. I said the exact same thing. Christian Kirk would have taken the double coverage off of Nico. And people kept asking, what about Nico? What about Nico? What about Nico? Well, it's the equivalent to what you've seen in the 2023 divisional game against the Baltimore Ravens. Roll the coverage to Nico because there ain't nobody on the other side. Same thing you seen in 2024 against Kansas City Chiefs. Roll the coverage to Nico. Take Nico out and make everybody else beat us. Exactly. All right. Sarge, honestly, man, I'm disappointed. I've watched you, Seth, Aaron, and I just been feeling like I've been lied to from Ryans to Stroud. It almost feels like what did we even do to get better in the offseason? So I will say this. Some of it does have to do with D'Amico Ryans. A lot of it has to do with Nick Caserio. D'Amico cooks the groceries. D'Amico cooks the groceries. Nick Caserio buys them. Nick Caserio buys the groceries. D'Amico Ryans is the chef. And so all he can do is what he can do with what he got. Y'all remember I had a show last year. I said it on my show last year and on that former show that I was on. I said, y'all just now, I mean, y'all talking about how bad the offensive line is. Or y'all talking about how bad the offensive line is and how they ended up. And I remember I told you one of the biggest people that you had to blame about the way that the offensive line looked last season was Nick Caserio, because Nick Caserio watches every practice. Every practice. He's on the field, the back of the field, looking. He's observing. He has a play sheet. He knows exactly what's going on. And so with the inefficiencies of the offensive line, that type of stuff falls back on the general manager as far as getting the talent and the offensive line coach, which was Chris Strausser at the time last season. So you would think that Nick would have learned from his mistakes coming into this season, but it's almost like he doubled down because of the amount of the players that he brought in to the team this season. Some of those guys were benched for inefficiencies. Some of those guys are looked old at their former spots. Some of those guys looked bad against good competition. Like some of those guys, and like I told you all before, hey, and I'm not even ready to just give up on them right now because we don't know what these players are going to look like later on in the season. But are you sure that you want to go into the bye week 6, still wondering what this offensive line is going to look like? Why CJ Stroud doesn't, like, at some point you've got to say you got to do something. Like, you got to do something. There's too many times that CJ was under pressure. As a matter of fact, hold on, let me look at this. Give me a second, because I think it's in here. CJ Stroud was pressured on 41.2% of his dropbacks in the Texans' Week 1 loss to the Rams, his 14th game facing a pressure rate of 40% or higher since he entered the league in 2023, which is tied for the most such games in the NFL. While Stroud did take 3 sacks, he did also manage to complete 9 of his 10 attempts under pressure for 102 yards, recording a plus 29.7% completion percentage over expected, the highest of his career. 41.2% he was pressured on. on Sunday. That is a lot. Can any of the spare defensive linemen play? Hey, common sense 200 say, can any of the spare defensive linemen play on the offensive side? I don't know. Will, you put Will on it. I'm pretty sure Will can. I am under the belief that Will Anderson Jr. can play everywhere. Brandon says you couldn't really avoid the consequences of building an O line, that a bad O line the last 5 years. I can't pronounce that name, but he says, I'm done with the Texans. Poverty franchise. The Bears look good, and they've already scored a touchdown. I'm not even watching the Bears game. Hold on. What is the? Let me see. I hear my wife in there watching it. She's watching it because of the implications, the fantasy football implications. So wait, hold on. What did you say? I'm done with the Texans poverty franchise. The Bears look good and already scored a touchdown. Well, hell, the score is only 7-3 with 35 seconds left in the second quarter. Caleb Williams, 12-15 for 109 yards. And he's rushed for 32 and 1 touchdown. But they only okay. Make it make sense to me. I get it. If you want to be done with the Texans, that's cool. I told you, when I'm doing a job, I don't have a team. And when I'm doing this job right here, I'm not a fan of nobody. Nobody. Now, when I ain't doing this, I don't have a team. I'm a free agent right now, but I still lean towards the Cowboys because that's all I've known for almost 50 years. It's hard to just break that habit after 50 years. But it's only 7-3. So how the Bears look better than the Texans? It's 7-3. Hold on. Let me make sure they score in the last 35 seconds. They got the ball. Where do they have the ball? It's 28 seconds. And it's 4th and 2. They got one timeout. So if they kick a field goal, it's going to be 10-3. I'm good. Fire D'Amico and get an offensive-minded coach. And then what are you going to do on the defensive side of the ball? Don't worry. You know what? Don't worry. I'll wait. I got a drink right here. Hold on. Fire D'Amico and get an offensive-minded coach. And then what are you going to do about the defense? No, don't worry. I wait. I'm going to wait. Okay. Right. You're right. Twisted Conversation says, I think the problem is that CJ and Ryan's, along with the GM and the rest of the roster, don't have time for him to take 2 seasons. And you don't want to put in a young quarterback's head any type of doubt or any type of fear that he's always going to be under pressure, he's always going to get hit, or he's always going to get sacked. That's something you don't want to do to a young quarterback. And going into year 3, if CJ starts to feel like it's year 2 again, like you cannot help. It's human nature. It's human nature for him to be able to be like, damn, I got to do something because either I'm going to get hit or I'm going to get sacked. It is 10-3. What are you talking about? Am I missing something with the Bears, y'all? Because I'm doing this show. Am I missing something when it comes to the Bears? No quick pass on Pop. Nope. Conditionally accepted. I've talked about Popovich. Because coordinators and head coaches get more attention. Then, if that's the case, Twisted Conversations, then we should never bring up Chris Strausser's former offensive line coach, Chris Strausser, ever again. You're going to blame everything that happened on that offensive line on Bobby Slowick and D'Amico Ryans? I don't think that's the right way to do it. So Pop picked the players. No, he didn't condition except he did not pick the players, but he was hired to be able to help them perform better than what it looked like on Sunday. And it's only been one game. I get that part, and you can't blame him all of the way. But if you're going to say this is the next man up, and that's his position group, and they were statistically one of the worst position groups in the NFL last season. He doesn't get a pass. He may not pick. Hey, look, unfortunately, Pop isn't in a position to order the groceries. Like D'Amico can tell Nick Caserio what he needs. Nick is still going to go out and say, well, this is what we got, so I got to get this. I may not be able to get the name brand of this. I may have to get a generic version. But unfortunately, Pop just got to use whatever Nick walk into the whatever groceries Nick walk into the house with, make it work, make it happen, make it enough. Jay Hino says it's basic leadership with the chain of command. If Pop is the problem, the head coach and offensive coordinator should recognize this and handle business. If they don't, who is their fault? The problem is leadership, but at what level? I don't think that Popovich is the problem. It's only been one game. I don't think that he's the problem. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to lay blame at the feet of, D'Amico Ryans for what transpired on Sunday, if you're going to lay blame at the feet of Nick Caley on what transpired, then the position coach can't get a pass. The position coach can't get a pass. He has to be responsible for what's going on as well. Like, he doesn't get a pass. That's all I'm saying. Sure, head coach, offensive coordinator should take more. If you're gonna blame them, if you're gonna lay the blame at their feet, then like I said, if you're laying it at their feet, then right behind them should be Cole Popovich, because that's his position group. It should be heat on the whole offensive side of coaching. We survive drive, never thrive. Yep. What are you talking about? Everyone has not blamed Nick. All we talked about last year, and here we are again. I guess you're talking about the offensive line. The only thing the acquisition did is set the table for another offensive line rebuild next season. Gamer G Texas fan said, we want more Big Sarge. We want Super Bowls. Glenn says, it's going to sound weird with this line. I think CJ has to stop being as much of a quarterback. Just start using his legs more and getting out there sooner. Yeah, he's going to, yeah. And he did use his legs a lot more, especially at the end of the half. Like, I was really impressed by what CJ Stroud did at the end of the half. So we will see. Lexi says, felt like the team's energy wasn't fully there. Yep. We're going to make it happen in December, Fred. I'm going to be out there a little bit longer because I will be out there for the Houston Texans game against the Los Angeles Chargers. And I will also be out there on Christmas Day when the Houston Rockets will take on the Los Angeles Lakers. So I'm going to be out there longer, and I'm going to have dinner. And I think my wife is coming too, because I think we're spending Christmas in LA because I think she's going to the game. But I would love to get with you and your lovely wife and have dinner. So we'll make it happen next time. I would say the choices Kaylee made with personnel in the game at certain time was interesting. Yeah, Alexis, that's true. Sarge, do you believe the conservative nature was due to this being against McVay? I feel Kaylee last month. Yeah, and I think I answered that already. What's up, DQ? Why do they keep getting OCs that have never called plays? This is a good question. I expected this. They looked like last year. The one play did not lose the game. Personnel choices throughout the game was questionable. Yep. Also, what the hell is up with Juice Scruggs? Is he that bad that they? I don't know. I want to, you know what, Queena? But because you asked this, I'm going to find out. The Bull Bash says, I agree with Queena. You shuffled multiple spots to deal with one injury. If you don't trust Juice, you got a backup right guard. You do not trust. No reason to roster him. Yep. And that's what I said at the beginning of the show. I felt like that they panicked. I felt like they panicked. Caleb Williams really better than CJ Stroud. CJ's not look good as Caleb since his rookie year. Hey, you just like this is who is this? This is a troll. I feel like this is one of them people that I have blocked on Twitter that made them an account on YouTube and just come there. There's no possible, bro. Caleb Williams was sacked 68 times last year. He led the league in sacks. Now CJ was right behind him with 52, but there is no place, no time, no world, whether this world or the one that Thanos snapped his fingers and we lost. I'm not taking Caleb Williams over CJ Stroud. Not today, not yesterday, not the day before yesterday, not 2 days ago, not 441 days ago. I'm not. Thank you, the Bull Bash. Exactly. Now, Alexis, and now I know what you was talking about because I wouldn't see it. Oh, wow. Was Dory the only running back on that last drive? Yep, and I don't know why. Sting said that it was just football. That's all. They're winning 10-3. What are we talking about? Appreciate that, Rodney. D'Amico fired Bobby for failing to adjust. He knew McVay gets his best guys matched up. McVay was reviewing Adams' tape and probably saw that he did what he did to Petrie. Petrie's a defensive back that can't cover. You Smith. Tremont Smith? Good. Okay. Queena says they big mad. However, I digress. For the defense in the grand scheme of things, the defense gave up 14 points. Were they out schemed? Yes. Were they undisciplined at times? Yes. That's another thing. I can't believe that the Houston Texans had that many penalties. You cannot. She says she gives them give them a game one pass. Offense not so much. Is it time to start playing a true nickel cornerback? Put Kamari there and put one of the rooks, another vet on the outside. Yeah, but Kamari is so good on the outside, though. I don't know because you still have what you got. Miles Bryant on the practice squad. I know he's a true nickel, but we have to see. But hey, and look, that's one of the things. If you go and you look at the interview that I did with Jalen Smith, the rookie out of USC, we talked about that. Caleb Williams told me. Caleb Williams. Look at that. Jesus Christ. Kalen Bullock told me early on that that Jalen Smith is one of those players that can play all three. He can play on the outside, he can play the nickel, and he can also play safety. So he's very, very multifaceted. And so if they do that, then maybe you will see that. And I know that a lot of what happened. I'm sorry. You got to get. I feel like they went to a 3 linebacker set, and I have to go and look at the stats to see how successful they were. But if they keep having these type of issues, coverage issues, they may have to look at doing something different. And, you know, I don't know how I Christian Harris has the speed. I haven't seen him cover since 2023. So, but I know he has the speed. I know that he has a defensive background. So we'll see. D'Amico has to make adjustments if we consider him as one of the best defensive minded coach. He has to do what's best, find a solution to the Petrie issue. I would also like D'Amico to hold players more accountable for the penalties. We have to play with an edge, but play smart. Ravens chief can't be aggressive. Discipline is why they finished top 3. Let me get down to some more of this. Miles and that cognac says, and even with that success, Houston held them to 14 points and forced a game-altering turnover. The offense had a chance to burn the clock away and score, but they folded. And yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Miles and that cognac, because even though they were out schemed at times, that defense stepped up when they needed to. They stepped up and caused the turnover to get the ball back for the offense. Like that hit that Azeez Al-Shaair put on that tight end, that was perfect. I put that up on my social media. That was perfect the way that he caused that fumble. Like hold on a second. That caused that fumble. So I was just like, wow. Wow. All right. Let me see if I can get some more of these in before I get up out of here. And what they doing in practice at the tight end position, right, Jalen? Let me see. Sarge, with the constant injuries, do we need to change the strength and conditioning staff? Texas have lost key contributors since the Kubiak era. This era, I don't think it has anything to do with the strength and conditioning. I just think that it's one of those. We have to see. The problem is people are acting like Ingram coming back will save this line. They need to add someone better, if possible, to raise the floor. We need stability to avoid the shuffling. Yeah, that's one thing that's been saying the whole offseason. Alexa says, I don't understand the full-on panic by so many fans, especially after just week 1. I don't understand it either. Tay says, no, that's also why they teach the receiver that once the ball is in their hands to bring it into their body. He's talking about the fumble. This is why I'm disappointed. You know how you get out of a bad relationship, then the red flags show up in the new relationship. Oh, Bella the Trey baby. Trayvon says, do you think we need a slot corner? Kobe Bryant. That was his name. I don't remember. I know it's Kobe something. Appreciate that, Queena. I think I got to get up out of here because I got to be up early in the morning. They shuffled because they wanted to avoid putting Juice and Fisher on the field. Fisher was only out there when they had no choice. Yeah, but I still feel like Juice has played enough to give him another opportunity. It pissed me off watching them move Ursary from right tackle to left and back to right. I understand his ability, but he's still also a rookie. Exactly. He just hurt. It was just in practice. He just hurt his hamstring. Glenn said, Glenn, that's a good question. I wonder if there is anyone available to trade for on the offensive line. We don't have any dogs on the offensive line. CJ gets sacked. They don't rush to get him up, push players off of him, nothing. Where's the heart? We're going to find out on Tuesday, hopefully. Big facts. Do you think our defense needs a slot corner? I think you live and you see with what Petrie can do in his return. I don't think you give up on Petrie just yet. I don't. Let's see. Food for thought. Late round picks develop into quality depth with good organization. Nick Casario throws away a lot of late rounders to move spots in drafts. The Queen says he's brought in trash. Nick cannot draft offensive linemen. I would have traded Damian Pierce or cut his then traded for Brian Robinson, who only costed a 6. Casario is not willing to give up early rounders. Texans need the Nico Autry, no pressure up the middle. Jalen says, Sarge, so say the season goes awry. Who is to get the blame? Nick, correct? Which one, Jalen? Nick Cayley or Nick Casario? So what you're saying is one of the Knicks gonna get the blame. Just which one, right? If we go into the bye wondering about the offensive line, we're gonna be trashed this season. Part of investing in your star quarterback is investing in keeping him upright. I feel like Nick is mucking off CJ's talent and making him look inept. And you're gonna have to pay CJ soon. CJ is going to have to get paid soon. It's a good question. Chi-Town Bread should have drafted. I mean, that's a good point. Should have drafted Will Johnson second round. He was right there. Yeah. I believe that, Pat. And all Nick got to do is hire me to be a scout and send me up north. No, I definitely believe that. I don't know what we did all damn mini camp and camp. It's good. So let me tell y'all this, y'all, before I get up out of here. Patton loves Luke Lachey, the rookie tight end out of Iowa. Oh my God. That's who he's calling the GOAT. That's who he's calling the GOAT. He's talking about Luke Lachey, the tight end that was drafted in what, 7th round? I guess we'll see. Hey, side note. So, Patton, because I know you like them up north football players. You know who I got on my fantasy football team at tight end? Tyler Warren. I do. You know who balled out for me week 1? Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren. I knew that he was in my queue before I thought anybody. I don't remember what round I took him in, but I knew. I was like, these people ain't checking for Tyler Warren. And I know that Daniel Jones, and we're talking about the Indianapolis Colts players now, because I'm going to do a Sell in the South from the South. Got the diamonds in my mouth. Anyway, I'm going to do a Sell in the South show, and I'm going to be talking about the rest of the teams from the AFC South. I started by watching the Colts versus the Dolphins today. More of my research is going to come as I watch I forgot who the Titans played, but I know that they mad at their coach. Oh, they are mad at Callahan. They mad at him, and rightfully so. He didn't know the rules. How do you be a head coach and you don't know the rules? And I forgot who the Titans played, but I'm going to watch Jacksonville versus Carolina too. So when we start talking about the rest of the AFC South, because right now, as it currently stands, if the week look, it's week 1, but if the season ended right now, I don't know if I could put the Texans up there. I don't know if I could put the Texans up there. Is that the running back out of that's the running back from Seattle? Hold on, because I think I got him on my fantasy football team too. Well, my fantasy football team balled out yesterday, y'all. I scored 173 points. You know why? Because I had Josh Allen, who gave me 48 points, and I had Derrick Henry, who gave me 34 points. Yeah, boy. You talking about Kenneth Walker the third, the running back out of San Francisco? He had 20 yards rushing yesterday. Keon Coleman had 26 points on my bench, and Myers had 17. I'm gonna have to do something. Hey, Tyler Warren gave me 14.9 points yesterday. Yay. Yeah. Hold on for a second. Yeah. We be ducking. Two glaring things we had to take care of was O-line and the freak tight end we did not do to address both of these issues. All that BS from D'Amico and our guru, new offense coordinator, and our great team. What's up, Sean Super Tech? Late. You had Lamar. Hey, maybe we should do some fancy football stuff on here too now that we started. Yo, hey, 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 hey. Our fancy football squad is fire though. Fire! It's fire. All right, y'all. I've been on here probably too long. I still got work to do. I still got I still got articles to oh snap. Hold on. Give me a second. Y'all can see my screen. This is what I was talking about. So if you go see this right here, round table. Oh, can you see that roundtable.io /sports NFL. Hold on, let me do this. I know exactly what I need to do. Hold on for a second. Okay. What y'all see? This is what I'm working on. And y'all see I already got 4 articles. This was the first one, the beginning of an era for Texas new offense coordinator Nick Caley. Texans offense suffered shakeup before season opener. A rare occasion, Texans Darigo Bawale late game fumble derails comeback. Texans tight end cased over out indefinitely with a broken foot. So this is the new site. This is called Texans Roundtable. Y'all give me 1 second. Y'all give me a second. Boop boop ba doo. Boop boop ba doo. Doo doo. Y'all hear the train? I hear the train coming around the bend. That's not what I want to do. That's it. That's it right there, y'all. Please. Let me take this down. Please go to this site and join the community. As you can see, I already have some great articles up there. Started on Sunday. There's some great articles on there. There's another article that's about to be that's going to come tonight. There will be another one when you wake up in the morning. I'm about to put some exclusive locker room interviews on there. Please go and join this community. It's free and it's just more stuff for you Texan fans. That's it. It's more stuff for the Texan fans. So there go that Sugarland train again. uh So, Queena, it's not a well, actually, I will be doing a podcast. I'm gonna let y'all know more about it. There's a podcast coming this week, but it'll be on this platform, and you all will still be able. I'm thinking that I'm gonna make it to where you all will still be able to join too. But please go here to roundtable.io /sports NFL /Texans. I am I'm over the community, and I know for as much as you all actually no, I don't live on the south side, but I mean I have lived on the south side and the southwest side, but I don't live in either places now. But I would love for you all to go ahead, join the community, and just like you support me here and we're family here, go there. There's going to be the train sound like he got money. The train on MLK Macau sound like it's been his last leg since the 90s. You hilarious, Patton. But go here for more exclusive Texans content, articles, videos, all that. Join the community. There's a chat that we could talk over there. You could ask me questions over there. But please go over there and join. What am I doing? All right, y'all, I got to get up out of here. But I am going to leave that right there. Nope. Okay, what am I doing? That's not what I need to do. I need to do this. Okay, what are we doing? Oh, here we go. All right, y'all. Hey, you've been tuned into the Texas Happy Hour, sponsored by the Hall Family Estates. Make sure you go to www.hallfamilyestates.com for all your wine needs. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy wine, and that's the closest thing to it. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Make sure you follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to the Texans Tailgate Talk podcast, all one word, Texans Tailgate Talk. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, because you know we do everything for the gram. Make sure you're reading. There's 2 places now that you can find exclusive content from me, BigSargeMedia.com and on the Texans Roundtable. I like that. Got a nice feel to it. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Big Sarge. Big Sarge.